Question for you. Might seem like a silly question, but have you ever noticed how all cars seem to be the same colour? So in this video I'm going to explore the reasons why most people seem to prefer a silver or a black or a white or a grey car. You might just suggest that what I've done is listed 4 colours there, but I haven't. You see, it's a scale, a monochrome scale of emptiness and ambivalence. But more than that, it shows lack of imagination, lack of personality. Everything being in black and white actually helps crime. I'll tell you why in a bit. First, let's go for a drive in a silver Mercedes. I'm driving a 1980s designed Mercedes-Benz, which is silver. Germany, a place that's sensible, austere. They wanted cars with elegance and class and to be understated and not to be laughed at. There's nothing funny about an old Mercedes. But in Britain, we got over the 50s and started to have some fun. 50s, everything was black. And then suddenly, the 60s and 70s road scene, colourful. Orange, yellow, blues, reds, purples, pinks. You know what colours are. I don't really need to explain them. And this lingered on into the 80s and even 90s. And then of course the 2000s came round with us in a very different era altogether. Strange though, in that era we were hankering over the 70s. I think what happened is about 20 years ago or so, us Brits stopped being proud of who we were and started wanting to be German. And that was reflected on the cars that we bought. And of course, our cars, the British-made cars, the Japanese-made cars, all the rest of the cars from around the world also wanted to be a bit German. And so, we basically started copying their looks. Black, grey, silver, white. The sliding scale of anonymity. Some people just don't like to be seen. They want to blend in. And criminals in particular. Nothing blends in more than a silver or grey Volkswagen Golf. You just don't see them. If there was some sort of criminal lineup for cars that had been involved in something, I bet the majority of people couldn't identify the car. Yeah. Bad driving in a bright orange Fiat would be a lot more difficult to get away with than in a silver Golf. These are the safe colours, brought to you by leasing companies. Because even if you don't particularly like silver, you're not going to be embarrassed by it. But you might be with yellow. Whereas at one point, silver used to be the choice of elegant German cars, these days it could well be used to cover up the activities of the Fisher-Price bad boys. And with this, to prove a point, what I thought I would do is just record a random selection of cars coming the other way whilst on my way home. And we'll count them up. We'll see exactly how many of these cars are our favourite colour and how many of them are grey. The favourite colour in the UK is blue, and then red, then purple, then green, then pink, and then finally black. White is the colour of emptiness, a blank sheet, white goods, commercial vehicles, neutral and devoid of expression. What colour would you like your new car, madam? I don't care, just leave it as it is. Silver. It's not really a colour, just a glittery grey for those that don't like to wash. Silver is probably the least looked after paint because it appeals to those that can't see dirt. Grey is just basically blending into miserable weather. Black, the best colour to show off a beautiful design, although usually on cars that possess no design flair at all. It shows the tiniest of marks and will age the car quickly because of the dirt. I must admit though, of recent times, Peugeot and Kia and Jaguar seem to be making some very, very exciting colours. More people should go for these. Imagine if the streets could be back like they were in the 70s. The cars would no longer be British, but it would just look so much nicer. We've lost our personality, our identity, our purpose. But one thing we could have though, is we could have some colour back on the streets, couldn't we? If Kia are prepared to do it, and Peugeot are prepared to do it, and people are prepared to buy the cars, it might make those manufacturers of the cars that you actually like paint their cars as well. It seems like the only way you can be an individual in this country these days is if you're part of some subculture, or you're labelled eccentric or bohemian. Why can't we all just be normally interesting instead? Eh? There's a meme that I've seen posted about quite a lot that has about 10 or 15, maybe 20 new cars all on one picture, and the point is you can't really tell the difference between one another because we've lost our sense of identity and there's no style really any longer. But the point is that those pictures, every single one of them, the car is white, so that makes it, you know, a bit of a trick. But all cars are white nowadays.